Let's talk about the wild news, the back and forth. We talked about Canelo, Crawford. Then it turned into seem like it would be Canelo versus Jake Paul instead. And then Turki Alalshikh comes in and announces it is a signed deal. Canelo Alvarez, 4-fight deal with Riyadh Season. First fight will be in Saudi Arabia versus William Skull. And then it looks like we will get, if victorious, the next fight after that versus Terence Crawford. Now that you had a little bit of time to digest the craziness, what do you make of all this news?
Couple things. Boxing does have a CEO. It never did. It was, 5 different power brokers, all over the place. But basically, they do have a kind of a leader, a CEO, an influencer, if you will. A guy that has influence that can come in and change things. And he could do it at the 12th hour. He could do it at the 11th hour. He could do it anytime. And that guy is Turki Alalshikh. I think that I won't go places I'm not sure of. We were sure that we thought, I'm kind of going back against what I'm saying. We're sure, and then I was about to say of what we think we knew. So, but I just say it straight, the only way in the how. We believe we had the Crawford. It looked like we had the Crawford. We were talking about that. Can a really great small guy beat a really good big guy? We were getting into that mind frame again. Some people were saying, "Oh, Canelo's too big. Forget it." But we were getting into the right mind frame, the right with this great sweet science, with this sport that goes back longer than any other sport in the world, where catch weights used to be in the 20s to 30. Little guys beat big guys, and it wasn't that unusual. So we were starting to get into that frame of thinking. Okay, can this great guy Crawford, can he, instead of looking at it as a disadvantage that Canelo is so big, can we look at it that maybe he'll be too smart, too slick, too quick, you know what I mean? Too special in those areas, not to allow Canelo to use his size and his counterpunching and everything else. And that's what the sweet science is about. It's not supposed to be just about, letting a bull run out into the bull ring and then wait until the matador puts a spear in. It's supposed to be about the bull actually having a chance to outslick the matador, which don't happen too often. So now we were starting to get into interesting grounds. Okay, people were buying into it. Yeah, this is okay. This is gonna be interesting. I'm ready. And then all of a sudden, bang. And then unfortunately, because boxing always shoots itself in the foot, and like the late great friend of mine, Bert Sugar, used to say, boxing can't give itself any more black eyes. It's the Cyclops. There's no more eyes to blacken because boxing always does that to itself. So it looked like it did that to itself because fans were saying to me, "Oh, I knew that fight wasn't going to happen." No, it was, no, I tell you, everything's never going to happen. Everyone lies, everyone. Yeah, and that's terrible. That makes you feel bad because that means the sport doesn't have credibility. People don't trust it. So that's terrible. And then all of a sudden, you hear Jake Paul. Like him, hate him. Listen, the guy's been a genius. The guy has paid his dues. I don't care if you hate him. You're like, listen, I didn't like the last fight with him and Tyson. It looked like it was scripted. I didn't like it. Let's put that right out there. Right out there. I know I've given flowers to Paul in the past because at least he worked at this. He got a trainer. He busted his backside trying to be. He's a work in progress, trying to become a better fighter. I know he's picked his spots. I get it. Everyone, if you're in that entitled position where you bring the money in, guess what? You pick spots too. Because you earned that right by becoming the guy that brings in the money. So you take advantage. You pick spots. So yeah, he picked spot. He fought one guy who was a fighter, not a great fight, but a fury who was at least dedicated to boxing. He had an amateur fight, and he lost a competitive fight, but he lost the fight. So I understand all of that. But that fight suddenly looked like that was going to replace Crawford. And everybody was saying, me, yours truly, yeah, I don't hide. Even me, I was saying, wait a minute. Now, if Canelo is now going to fight him instead of Crawford, then I have respect for Canelo, but I tell the truth. Canelo does pick his spots. Yeah, he's fought a lot of good fighters. Yeah, he's a champion. Yeah, he's tremendous, okay? He is. But he has picked spots. Maybe he has avoided Benavidez, whatever. But he has picked spots when he has gone up. And you're right, it's on his resume, guys, that he has fought really good fighters. He's lost to them. And then some of them, Triple G got a gift decision the first time. Then it was a draw. Then the second time they gave it to him. I didn't think he won. But look, he fought them. And then, of course, he lost to Beaver. He lost to Mayweather early in his career, right? There was a close fight with Lara. All of that. All the greats have those on their resume for the most part. But he has also fought guys smaller, guys older. He's picked spots and still got paid enormously because he's Canelo, because he can do it. I'm just pointing it out. That's all I'm saying. But he has done that. So now I came out too. And I said, now, if this is true, I didn't know if it was, but I said, if this is true, he's going to fight Jake Paul. Now you could understand why people attack him in these ways or why they say ducking. And I don't ever say he ducks. I don't say that. I just say he picks spots. But if somebody's going to go after him and say, you know what? They got the right to do it now. That's all I was saying. I was saying if this is true and he's now going to, instead of Crawford, for whatever reason, that fight all of a sudden ain't happening, and now he's going to fight Jake Paul, I'm just saying, you know what? He can't complain about the incoming attacks he's going to get on him, on his reputation now for being a guy that avoids certain guys. Now he can't complain about it. That's all I was saying, if that was true. But before the ink could dry, and see, here's the thing. Jake Paul has since, you guys should go Google it. Jake Paul has since shown a document that shows Canelo's signature and his. Now look, I'm not a signature expert, bud. I'm not. But I would think that I would kind of doubt that Jake Paul forged his signature. That if he's putting a document up that they had a signed agreement, a signed contract. I know some people are going to say, well, then, Teddy, why is he not suing? I don't know. I can't answer that for you. Or why is he not contesting it in legal way? I can't answer that for you, guys. I'm honest right now. All I can say is that Paul has shown a document that he says is Canelo's signature next to his signature for a fight. And then I think we know the rest. That you don't need Sherlock Holmes. You don't need Teddy Atlas. You don't need any kind of investigator or sleuth to figure that out. The man who has more influence than anyone else now, who has really helped the sport give us fights for the last year, a little over a year, that we couldn't have gotten otherwise, that has brought back some of the relevance, if you will, making the sport more relevant again, where we're starting to go into a niche place a little bit because we were not making the fights that people wanted. There were too many one-sided fights. We were not giving the audience. Really, they're the boss. You know, they're the stockholders of this great sport. Without them, what do you have? You have nobody watching. And then there's no reason to have it. So they were not getting the fights that they thirsted for, that they wanted. They weren't getting. They were watching these different power brokers build their guys up with their partners wherever their network was, with their partners, with their sugar daddies. Yeah, I say I say some people like it. Teddy, thank you for giving us Teddy, love you. Other people, not so good. Not so good. All right, I get it. But they were satisfying their the sugar daddies. They were building up their fighters to a big fight, and they were putting it on at the expense of the audience, at the expense of the public, at the expense of the fans. The most important part of this whole thing besides the fighters. So Turki Alalshikh comes along in the last year and a little more than a year now, and he starts giving us the fights that we didn't think we could have, that we wanted but we couldn't have, that were kept from us. And now he has a passion for the sport, a passion for the fighters, from everything we can see. And knock him, hate him, love him, applaud him, whatever. A lot of people are applauding him. Same reason I'm saying along those lines of what he's given us fights that we needed, that the sport needed, the fans wanted, sport needed, really. And now he comes along and he says, no, not on my watch. Yeah, it's his watch now. Okay, in his mind, yeah, I mean, how can you argue with him thinking this way? Not on my watch. I'm giving fights that I believe are the right fights in the audience. I'm committed to this. We're not doing this fight. I'm gonna come in here and let's talk Turkey, right? I don't mean Turki Alalshikh. I really don't. I didn't mean a pun here. But let's talk Turkey. Let's talk straight. We like to talk Turkey. Canelo was bought out. I'm not knocking him for it. Make as much money as you can. You're the one who takes all the risk. You're taking great risk. Really. I'm the one who's been saying for years, bud, fighters can't make enough money as far as I'm concerned, because every time they leave the ring, there's a chance they leave with less of themselves, or they don't even leave. 28-year-old kid just died last week. I don't even want to get, but he just died from a brain injury. He went in the ring, 28 years old. He didn't come out. So I'm just over in, I think it was an island, but it was abroad. What I'm saying is, let him make his money. He's got the right. He's taking a risk to make as much. But let's not hide from the fact that, yeah, he got bought out of this fight. That's all I'm saying. He got bought out of this fight. So the deal now to walk away from the Jake Paul fight that it seems like he signed to, he got a 4-fight, Turki Alalshikh gave him a 4-fight deal, starts in May with the fighter you just mentioned, William Skull, the number one, he's a, whatever, it's going to be for, he's a champion, he's got one of the belts, so it's going to be for an undisputed 168-pound title, I guess, right?
Yeah, he has the IBF belt he won against Vladimir Shishkin, which was vacant after Canelo was stripped of that belt.
He's 23-0, he's 32 years old, he's got 9 knockouts. Look, I'll finish by touching on that. 4-fight deal, we don't know the exact monies, but I put out there that I've heard, and again, I'm saying I just heard, neighborhood. It could be anywhere from 100 to 150 million a fight. It's a lot of De Niro. It's a lot of De Niro. It's a lot of any way that you want to pronounce and identify the name for money. So we don't know for sure what the fights are. There's a mention. We know the Skull fight first, then supposed to be Crawford, I think, second, right, bud? And then we're hoping for Benavidez. We're hoping maybe for obviously, I don't have to tell you, you would hope for the winner of Bivol and Benavidez. You would hope that it would kind of be in that kind of mix. We don't know. But here's the thing. I'll finish with this. We don't know. At the end of the day, we don't know if he's going to win them all, if he's going to get to the whole 4-fight deal. We don't know. We don't know if he won't pull out on one of them. We don't know. We don't know we know it sounds good, but we don't know if it actually transpired. We don't know if it actually happened. But what I do know, and I'll leave it this, bud, he's getting awfully overpaid for the Skull fight. That's what I do know. And again, I'm not trying to rain on any parade. I love what Turki Alalshikh's doing for the sport. I've said that. I'm not going to say it no more. I'm just saying that Canelo's pretty smart. He's pretty good in the ring, and he's pretty good businessman. I don't think he gets enough credit for being the businessman he is, because he knows how to make money. Cinnamon knows how to make money, besides counterpunching and everything else. And at the end of the day, I saw Willem Skull. I'm not gonna go into it heavy. He is beyond. He is tremendously overpaid. Tremendously being overpaid for that fight. Maybe I turn out to be wrong. Eat my words, and I eat them right here. But that's it. What else can I say? Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see where, if we get to the Crawford fight, what those other two fights will be on the
That's the key
four-fight
word.
deal.
If that's what you guys gotta get your head around in this sport.